So when Charlie Kirk got killed, that affected me a lot, and that made me think I need to speak out more about Jesus Christ and my faith, because that's what Charlie Kirk did, and he basically died for it. And so the least I can do about potentially, or basically the most important thing you can talk about is talk about it, right? So he kind of set the example, and he suffered the ultimate worst fate you can have for that, at least here on earth. So let's just start off by me speaking out about my faith journey. So my story is I was basically an atheist my whole life. My family was never religious. We never had any religious associations. My aunt was kind of Buddhist. So I she went to the temples here and there, but we weren't Christian or anything like that. And actually, I experienced a lot of antagonism against Christianity. So people would talk crap about Christianity and say how bad it is or whatever. So I actually kind of grew up kind of like anti-Christianity, or really just not really thinking about it at all. And even like in sixth grade, my friend Philip, he would try to convert me. He's like, "Hey, Dad, you don't know about Jesus Christ. I'm going to bring a Bible to you after school or whatever, and I want to tell you about, the religion so you don't go to hell." So he was trying to save me, and I was like, "Oh, if pretty much anyone who tries to convert you, we all get the same feeling, like, whoa, hold up, man, no, I'm not interested in that." Right? So I've always been kind of standoffish about that. It's like, please don't try to convert me. I don't care. I'm just living my life. I mean, I don't really think too much about these things, right? So just whatever. And people would try, take me to church in college, and I would come along, and I was just like, I don't know anything that's going on. Like, there's people and they're talking. I don't know. Like, this doesn't move me or affect me and that. So I've been pretty much atheist. Just don't really care about religion, going through life for over 30 years. I would try to like trick myself into believing in God. Like, there's a lot of people who believe in God, so let me try to trick myself and be like, yeah, let's read about God and try to believe in this, But I just couldn't get into it. It didn't speak to me. And online, I would frequent like message boards like Reddit and stuff like that. And Reddit is, just an aside, Reddit is a crazy, terrible place. Like 90% of it is like leftist and honestly kind of like demonic stuff. It's like anti-Christianity. It's like propaganda. And if you say anything that goes against the hive mind, you'll probably just get banned. And that sounds extreme, but it's true. They'll just ban you. They'll give other people a warning. They're like, hey, we don't talk about politics or religion here. So they'll give people who are on the left a warning, but if you're on the right, they're just banning you outright. It's like, oh, we don't talk about politics or religion here, so you're done. We don't want you here. So anyway, there's a lot of atheistic attitudes on Reddit, and so I'll read that and I'll be like, man, like Christianity or religion in general is just terrible for society because it's not true, and it's just fairy tales. People just reading some random book that people wrote a million years ago when they don't know anything. So they're just trying to explain the world because they're dumb. So I just kind of go through life like this. And then a bunch of things started happening, in my 30s. I think one of the strange things that happened is I almost got into a car accident, it's not a strange thing. I mean, we've all had close calls. But I was just trying to go into the intersection, and this car was going down the shoulder, and I didn't consider that some car would be speeding down the shoulder. So I'm not looking at the shoulder. I'm just like, okay, like there's no cars coming. I'm just gonna go. My wife told me to stop. I don't think the crash would have been pretty bad if I kind of went Maybe the car would have avoided me. I don't know. I don't think we all would have died or anything like that. But I mean, who knows, right? So I basically avoided a bad wreck potentially. And then I was actually shook up for a while. Like, man, that was bad. And I was pretty just unsettled, and it's like, man, things could have, we all know that life is fragile, right? So, and I started to kind of feel more humble after that, and I started trying to think, was that an act of God? I know most people think it's not an act of God. I mean, coincidences happen. I mean, like, lucky breaks happen. It doesn't mean some higher power is in charge of anything. That's true. We don't know that. We don't know. Nobody knows what God has a hand in or allows to happen or doesn't allow to happen. So we don't know that. Some people claim to know that, but we don't know that. But for whatever reason, I just felt compelled to just kind of start, just searching on YouTube about Christianity, and I really started to kind of pick at my arrogance and lack of humility, because all my life I've been like, yeah, Christianity's dumb, But like, who am I to say that? Because there's so many Christians out there. Like, are they all stupid? Are they all dumb people? No, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of smart people who are Christians, right? So I started just researching about it, and I saw so many arguments about it. I looked about the Christian and atheist debates and stuff like that, and slowly I started to see, like, okay, this is not just fairy tales. There's a lot of mysteries in Christianity. There's a lot of things we don't know, but the puzzle pieces we can kind of put together, it makes it plausible, right? So Christianity is obviously not a science or whatever. It's a faith for a reason, because we don't know for sure. But it's not just hocus pocus fairy tales. And then at the same time, this was a few months before the 2024 election. So this is not even 2 years ago. This is maybe a little bit over a year ago. I started learning about liberals and conservatives and their politics, just trying to get myself up to speed. So, and a lot of times when you learn about conservatism, you learn about religion. So I'm like learning about religion through the lens of politics. That's where Charlie Kirk comes in, because a lot of his talks were very illuminating for me. And he wasn't the only one who kind of changed my mind about stuff. There was an MIT professor named Dr. Rosalind Picard, and she has a bunch of videos on YouTube where she talked about how she was kind of like me, where she was like, religion is for the dumb. And then she started looking into it, and then she saw that, okay, she started slowly changing her mind from, atheist to agnostic to thinking that there could be more to this, and then becoming, from what I see now, she's a devout Christian. So, and her one of the lines that spoke out to me was that you can't call yourself educated if you haven't read the Bible, because the Bible is like the most famous book in the world, right? So to me, that's like, how do you call yourself a movie expert if you've never seen Steven Spielberg? Or how do you call yourself a sports fan if you've never watched soccer or whatever? It's like the most iconic thing in that category, and you don't even know what it is. So, I went to college. I went to a good college or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I'm educated, but I've never read the Bible, so why am I avoiding it? Like, what do I have to be afraid of? Why am I afraid it's going to convert me or something like that? And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'm just going to start to read the Bible. So I started looking into it and started reading it. And then I kind of, as I'm going through the New Testament, I'm like, wow, this feels like something that happened. This is, I know we should be focused on facts, not feelings or whatever, but just from that faith alone, it's like, yeah, there are facts and evidence or whatever, but then also just like, do I believe this or not, right? And we go through life asking ourselves that question all the time. It's like, do we believe this? Do we believe that our friends don't hate us? Like, you don't know that. Your friends could just smile when they see you, or your coworkers could say that you're a great guy, and then behind your back, they're like, yeah, this guy sucks. I hate him. I really hate, he thinks he's so this and that, but he's really not, or whatever. And you don't know that, because you can't know that. You're not God. You can't fly into their bedroom at night or look at their text conversations. You just don't know these things, right? But you have it on faith that they don't hate you. So that's kind of where the gears start turning in my head. I'm like, okay, like I see how people have this feeling that Jesus Christ said these things and he resurrected, and this caused the whole world to change. And then I see all these different arguments about how God could exist. Like, for example, you ask any atheist, like, how did everything begin? They're like, oh, that's easy. It's the Big Bang. Just boom, the Big Bang happened and then the universe started. Okay, then what happened before the Big Bang? And of course, they don't know that because no one knows that. And if you think about it, it's kind of a crazy question, right? It's like, okay, so you go back in time and at a certain point, you just can't go back anymore. So like what started everything? Like there has to be a start to something. That's just logic. Like you can't just ignore that. I mean, I guess you can ignore that like I did. It's like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I don't know, just who knows? I mean, I'm sure some universe is some wacky thing that just always existed, and that's just how the universe is, right? But just the more you think about it, it's like, okay, that's a legitimate question, and we don't know how it works. So how do you just rule out God, And by God, I mean like an intelligent creator, because we don't know if it's a Christian God, right? So we think it's a Christian God because that's the evidence we have in the resurrection. Like, what other miracles have we seen? But yeah, so I started kind of my heart started getting softened about it, and I started learning more about it, and just slowly over the next several months, started learning more and more about it. And it wasn't like an instant thing or anything like that. And I'm still on my faith journey. My family, like I said, it's not religious, so I feel like in my immediate family, I'm kind of doing this kind of all by my lonesome. So pray for me, please. Pray that I find a way, and that my family finds a way, that we all head in the right direction. But I'm not officially Christian, or I'm not baptized, but I think about it a lot, and maybe one day, I think I always try to be steadfast and have patience. And a phrase from Father Mike that always comforts me is, nothing given to God is ever wasted. So any effort to try to become closer to God or try to move in the right direction is never wasted. And being steadfast to me, it means doing something and heading in that direction, even if you don't know or don't see results right away, and just kind of keeping at it, like Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming, just keep reading the Bible, just keep trying to do the right thing, trying to figure out how to get closer to God, how to soften my heart. Big shout out to my brother, who I have an older brother who is a devout Catholic, and he's been helping me along the way, sharing lots of information and just giving me a ton of support, love, spiritual support, information, knowledge, guidance, you name it. it's been amazing. It's been a blessing from God, you know. I've been a lot more grateful. Just in general, I feel like a lot more peaceful ever since I started investigating Christianity and started learning about God and the religion. Just like there's a supernatural element to it, but even if you told me, say, hey, I don't care about the afterlife stuff or whatever, I just want to know how to live life, Christianity would be the best way to go, I think. Unless, I mean, I'm not a philosopher, so maybe there's some other philosophies out there that come close, but I think that's just it. Like, other things come close, but Christianity is like the truth, right? It's like the real thing. It's like the source, right? So it gets me thinking, like, if you're a teenager and you read the Bible, it's possible that an 18-year-old who is well versed in the Bible will be more wise than an 81-year-old who has not read the Bible or is not Christian. It's kind of crazy, right? You think of like an older person, you're like, oh yeah, he's old, he's been through life, he's super wise. But what if he has a worldview that's false, right? And what if he follows some kind of different ideology or philosophy, and someone who's maybe like 15 or 16 years old who has based his worldview on Christianity, he's gonna be potentially more wise than this old guy. It's crazy. So it's like this this big book of wisdom, of truth, that just tells you everything there is to know about the world, and just people just don't really, a lot of people don't care about it. They don't read it. But anyway, it's a long video. I didn't mean it for it to be this long, but 17-minute video so far, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Yeah, I'm on a faith journey, and Charlie Kirk had a hand in that. Not the only hand, but Charlie Kirk, Rosalind Picard, just my curiosity in general, trying to be humble, less arrogant, because I've always been kind of secretly kind of like a low-key arrogant dude, right? I just think like, oh, I just kind of live life the way I want to live life, and I don't really care about anything else. So it's just a lot of kind of introspection and facing myself and being obedient to something that I believe is bigger than myself. It's bigger than the universe. So pray for me as I continue along my faith journey. Pray for me. Pray for my family. If you are, sorry, I see like a bug outside the window. If you are close to God, we should probably speak about it, just because of what happened to Charlie. Like, now it feels like Pearl Harbor just hit, and we're at war now. You know, it's like a spiritual war. So now we got to speak up even louder and more often than we ever have before. I don't know exactly how that looks, but it's just something I feel compelled to do. And yeah, that's it. Pray for me, and let's just keep speaking up.